It was, give me a second, guys.
Tiffany Winston says she's still learning how to live without her oldest son.
Some days I'm angry. Some days I cope. Some days I just cry. It's just, how long am I gonna have to feel like this?
On May 7th, 13-year-old Daquan Harris was riding a rented VO scooter to football practice when he was hit by a car at Colfax and Knox.
To know that my son got hit by a car is just like, geez, son, like, your last words to mommy was, okay, mom, I love you, drive safe. So it's just like, the pain is just like, it don't stop. It does not stop.
Now Tiffany's asking why it was so easy for a 13-year-old to access a rental scooter.
You always think it can never be you until it's you. I never in a million years thought I would be here. Never. Because I was always so strict on my kids. A child does not know street laws. So for this to be so accessible for children is unfair. All you do is scan the code and you can get on. It's too easy and too available for our children.
For Tiffany, grief doesn't stay in one place. It lives down the hall, in a room she passes every day and can't bring herself to enter or to change.
His room, I don't want to touch it. You know, I just want to leave everything like it was. But then again, I want to move it. It's a lot of emotions. But it's like it's torturing me to have to walk by and see his room and know that he's not there.
She knows nothing brings Daquan back. What she's hoping is that one other parent hears her and asks one more question before handing their child a scooter.
And if you can prevent it, prevent it. Because I thought I prevented it by telling my children to watch their surroundings and be careful, and I still didn't.
You can watch Tiffany's full interview tonight at 9 and 10. I reached out to VO for a statement on Daquan's death. They did not get back to me. But there is a user agreement that addresses kids, so we want to take a look at that now. It says in part, the online services are not intended for persons under 13 years of age. By using the services, you certify that you are at least 18 years of age, or in the alternative, you certify that you are the parent or legal guardian of any minor permitted to use this services, you authorize them to use them. So, you know, Tiffany is just hoping that her story is going to spark change, but I think it also raises some legal questions, and that's what we want to talk about now. Could companies that rent electric scooters face liability when children are able to access them? Joining me now, 9 News legal analyst Whitney Traylor. Let's start there, right? You've watched this case, you've seen everything that kind of has unfolded.
Yes.
Do you think there's a lawsuit here?
Yeah, there certainly is the possibility of a wrongful death lawsuit. This is such a tragedy, and obviously it's very early on, and so attorneys and investigators will get into it, and really they're going to determine, was there negligence by somebody, and did that negligence lead to his death? And so there'll be a substantial investigation, and there could be liability for a number of different people. And I understand they didn't file criminal charges against the driver, but that doesn't end the analysis at that point.
And let's kind of dive into that, because who is liable here? Is it the city, right? And I think what's so tragic, I mean, there's so much that's tragic about the situation, but we reported on this for weeks and months. VO was going to take over Lime and Lyft scooters, and this rollout happened on May 1st. Daquan got on that scooter and passed away got hit, I should say, 6 days later.
Yes.
On May 7th. Within 6 days, a child's life is taken. I mean, that is just striking. But is that, you know, is the scooter company, is VO liable? Is the city somehow liable?
Right.
We've even done some reporting. These scooters are being seen all over the place in front of schools, elementary schools, middle schools, high schools. DPS themselves have gotten dozens of complaints. They have told us dozens of complaints from parents. Who's liable here?
Well, that's going to be the question, and this is what you call complex litigation. There won't just be one defendant, and even if there is just one defendant, they may be bringing other people. So you're correct. There certainly will have to look at the scooter company. And you just read the user agreement. And what's interesting about that is it says this scooter is not suited for someone under 13, but they require you to be 18. So the question is, how much effort did they put into maintaining these young people not having access to it? Because they're saying if it's not suitable for someone under 13, then presumably that means they could harm themselves. But if you don't put any friction, you don't put any safeguards so that these young people don't have access to them, then you could be liable. So certainly they'll look at them, potentially the driver, even though it sounds like he went on a don't walk sign, was the driver distracted or negligent and otherwise or speeding. And so this is where these cases get into discovery, and these are the issues that will be hashed out before trial and then certainly at trial.
And I'm curious, talking to Tiffany, whatever damages or potential, punitive damages could come out of this, talking to this mother who lost her 13-year-old child, that is the least of her concerns. She wants there to be some systematic change with how these scooters are rented. Can you see something like that happening? And I mean, I don't know how these things work, but it just seems to me it's so easy. It's 2026. Where's the facial recognition, fingerprinting? That might sound like, something far in the future, but it just seems so easy. It's so easy.
No, and that's a great point, and that will be an issue. That will be a factual issue. What did you do to ensure that these young people didn't have access to it? And this was one of the main issues in the social media cases that just went to trial recently, and they were saying, hey, these young people are addicted, and Instagram you can't be on if you're under 13, but all you had to do was check a box. So they call that frictionless. There's no checking of government IDs or things like that. So here, that's the question. How did he have access to it? And if it was just a matter of putting in your information and then it unlocks, that's going to be a major problem. And the other issue as it relates to this is called tort law. These are torts, right? Civil torts. And the question is it foreseeable? So if for example, we did a story recently with all the accidents at the one stop sign, at the stoplight. That then becomes foreseeable that there is going to be an accident, and that increases the liability. So here, where were these accidents happening? Are you having a number of young people under 18 who are renting these and getting in accidents? And this is easy data to determine in terms of who's renting them, what's the frequency of accidents and things of that nature. And so all of this will come out in discovery, and if they don't resolve this before trial, if they don't settle it, someone like me is going to come in and have a heyday in cross-examination and in closing, saying you knew this wasn't suitable for young people, but you allowed them to have access to it. You didn't do anything to prevent that. So that's the crux of the issues that will come out prior to trial and certainly at the trial.
Mm-hmm. Just wanting, I know Tiffany just wants to save lives and not have another child this is about as devastating as the situation gets. It is heartbreaking. It's
heartbreaking, and that was such a beautiful story. And really that is the potential silver lining here, is that they make changes. And a lot of times those changes, if a company makes remedial changes, somebody gets injured on their property and they change it, that can't be brought up at trial because they want to encourage people to actually make those changes. So in this case, that could be the silver lining for sure, that other children are prevented from getting injured in the future.
Well, lawsuit or not, we are going to be on top of this. We will be asking VO the questions that need to be asked and doing our part to make sure another child doesn't lose their life senselessly on one of these bikes. Whitney Traylor, thanks for being here.